Hey, welcome back. You're watching Mix Hacks. My name is Joe, and today I'm going to show you an easy way to make your vocals a lot more professional sounding with just one plugin. That's right. We're going to use the Ultrachannel today. This is what it looks like, Eventide Ultrachannel. This is a channel strip plugin. For this demonstration, I'm only going to use 3 of its modules. I'm going to use a parametric EQ, followed by a compressor, which is set on the deess mode, so it's only deessing, and the oppressor, which is kind of like a scaled down version of the Eventide omnipressor. Let's take a listen to our first example, which is going to be a rap vocal. I'm going to have another rap vocal and a singing vocal after that. This is with the processing applied.
Défi thermise avait galéré. Première victoire sans trop forcer, je capte pas pourquoi vous faites les gars le même charisme qu'Anouna.
Without.
4 à cap, ouais les guerriers. Dans l'arène, contre VDB, la panthère va vous saigner. Mamba, mes couilles, je crains pas les coups. Arrête, en laisse, chant la détresse.
So that's the first example. Let's take a look at our second example here.
Faudra pas pleurer. Genre dans la soirée, garde la tête baissée, je vais vous démarrer. Par qui commencer, les sales bides à bière ou les mal baisés? Pas besoin de chercher, c'est vous qui demandez à vous faire tacler.
And lastly, let's take a listen to our singing lady here.
Bientôt ce sera ton heure, tu chanteras nos sons par cœur. On vous trace à l'air, Eagle, Snake, aucune valeur. Bientôt ce sera ton heure, tu chanteras nos sons par cœur.
Now I know what you're thinking, and you're probably saying to yourself, wait a minute, those vocals are way too thin. But remember, we're going to apply this within the context of the mix. And trust me when I tell you, these vocals will sound amazing when you put them next to all the other instrumentation that is taking up all the mid-range and the bottom end. So as you can see, I've already prepared these signal chains, but these are very easy to set up. So the way I begin processing with pretty much everything, but definitely on vocals, is going to be corrective EQ. So I'm going to reset this plugin and kind of demonstrate from the very beginning what this will look like.
Défi thermise avait galéré. Première victoire sans trop forcer, je capte pas pourquoi vous faites les gars le même.
And kind of find a spot where the vocals are brighter and clearer, more easy to understand. And I apply way too much boosting and see what's too much, and then I dial it back to where it's no longer as harsh. Now I'm also hearing that there's way too much bottom end, so I might apply a low cut, also known as a high pass, or as I did here, a low shelf.
Charisme qu'Anouna. 4 à cap, ouais les guerriers. Dans l'arène, contre VDB.
Similar philosophy. I'm going to go in, apply too much, and then pull that back somewhat. I'm still hearing some low mid frequencies that are bothering me.
Thermise avait galéré. Première victoire sans trop forcer, je capte pas pourquoi vous faites les gars le même charisme qu'Anouna. 4 à cap, ouais les guerriers. Dans l'arène, contre VDB, la panthère va vous saigner. Mamba, mes couilles, je crains pas.
And that's going to be that for the sake of demonstration. And of course, I'm going to set the deessing frequency next.
Première victoire sans trop forcer.
I'm going to do too much.
Vous faites les gars le même charisme qu'Anouna. 4 à cap, ouais les guerriers. Dans l'arène, contre VDB.
And that's going to be that. I'm going to leave the omnipressor, which is our compressor, on just stock settings, 4:1 ratio. 10 milliseconds attack, 100 millisecond release. It just works. I'm going to pull the threshold down.
La panthère va vous saigner. Mamba, mes couilles, je crains pas les coups. Arrête, en laisse.
Now you just heard there, I purposely overdid it for a second. The one thing that is worth knowing about the omnipressor is it just, as far as a VU meter is concerned, you barely just want to tap the needle. It's doing way more than it's letting on.
Chant la détresse, serre tes petites fesses, mon poteau. On vient fumer du Neujo.
And I'm going to demonstrate again with and without.
Défi thermise avait galéré. Première victoire sans trop forcer, je capte pas pourquoi vous faites les gars le même charisme qu'Anouna. 4 à cap, ouais les guerriers.
I also want you to notice how the meter here is actually showing us that post-processing, so after I've applied all this to the vocal, it's actually lower in volume compared to before. I want to demonstrate one last thing to you, which is how much this deessing is actually allowing us to really push that high end, to introduce clarity and to make the intelligibility far, far better.
Termise avait galéré. Première victoire sans trop forcer, je capte pas.
It's way too harsh.
Vous faites les gars le même charisme qu'Anouna. 4 à cap sans trop forcer, je capte pas. Pourquoi vous faites les gars le même charisme qu'Anouna.
So this little de-esser right here is what's really allowing me to boost as much as I am boosting here. Now, those of you with eagle eyes might have already noticed that I've got a couple sends going on over here. I'm going to enable them and show you what exactly I did. For a vocal to be sounding natural within a mix, it has to be put inside of some kind of ambience, some kind of space. Otherwise, it's just going to be sounding like a very dry vocal on top of a microphone. And that's not really what we're trying to do here. Let me turn these sends on for you now. We're going to go with the rap vocal first.
Défi Termise avait galéré. Première victoire sans trop forcer, je capte pas. Pourquoi vous faites les gars le même charisme qu'Anouna. 4 à cap, ouais les guerriers. Dans l'arène, contre VDB, la panthère va vous saigner.
And what you should have heard right there is just the perception of a very unnatural vocal going over into something that sounds natural to our ears. This is nothing other than a very simple room reverb. You can use any reverb you want. I chose to opt for the stock standard Studio One reverb here. You can copy the settings. This is just what I quickly pulled up and adjusted to make it sound like kind of like a room. What I want you to listen for in the next example is how it just instantly becomes a lot more natural sounding when I add the room, and as soon as I take it away, something just starts sounding out of place about it, something you cannot really hear, but you can feel it.
Termise avait galéré. Première victoire sans trop forcer, je capte pas. Pourquoi vous faites les gars le même charisme qu'Anouna. 4 à cap, ouais les guerriers. Dans l'arène, contre VDB.
What I want to show you next is going to be the singing vocals, which I've already added the room as well as a hall reverb to, the settings that I'm going to be using. And preceding this reverb, there's a low cut and a high cut. And after the reverb, there's another one. This is to kind of attenuate all the high frequency information such as the S sounds and all of those consonant sounds that I don't really want in my reverb. Notice how it really suits the singing vocal, although it would not really suit a rap vocal.
Bientôt ce sera ton heure, tu chanteras nos sons par cœur. On vous trace à mille à l'heure, Eagle and Snake, aucune valeur. Bientôt ce sera ton heure, tu chanteras nos sons par cœur.
And if this were maybe somewhat of a slower song, I might just use, instead of this whole program, the flat plate setting inside of Studio One's basic reverb, which is going to imitate sound of a plate reverb. I just took away the high cut to allow the higher frequencies inside and let it be processed by this reverb. And I'm going to cut some of those out after the reverb. So let's take a listen. Now with the plate reverb on and off.
Bientôt ce sera ton heure, tu chanteras nos sons par cœur. On vous trace à mille à l'heure, Eagle and Snake, aucune valeur. Bientôt ce sera ton heure, tu chanteras nos sons par cœur. On vous trace à mille à l'heure, Eagle and Snake, aucune valeur.
And this adds a kind of a bright sheen, a bit of a sparkle to the vocal. And that's why a plate reverb was a very popular choice for singing vocals. Now, of course, you don't have to use the exact same VSTs that I'm using. The whole purpose of this demonstration was just to show you how quickly and easily you can set a channel strip that has multiple different processors in it and how quickly you can dial in a really nice professional sound for your vocals. Like and subscribe for more.